Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So today's episode comes to you courtesy of Ryan, who's been supporting this channel as a general tier patron. And I truly couldn't do this without the support of amazing patrons like Ryan. So again, Ryan, thank you so much. And for the personalized deck tech, Ryan chose Xyris the Writhing Storm, focusing on politics with a wheel and deal type strategy. So let's jump into the commander, a 3/5 Snake Leviathan with flying that costs 2 green, blue, red. Whenever an opponent draws a card except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, create a 1/1 green snake creature token. And on top of that, whenever Xyris the Writhing Storm deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each draw that many cards. So, yeah, we're just benefiting other players, right? That's what we're doing. We're saying, you know what? I'd like to share in this card draw with you, and you, and you, and whoever's willing to make the best deal with me. Because again, I've got ways, you know, with my commander essentially, to say, I'm going to hit you, but you get a benefit from that, right? It's just 3 damage. You get to draw 3 cards. That's well worth it, right? Or, you know, some less damage-based approaches. I've got some targeted ways to say, you know what? You can draw some cards. Maybe I can draw some cards too. I'm going to benefit you while also getting just a small benefit myself. Just a little snake army. And of course, we've got ways to benefit everyone as well. So yeah, we've got some politicking to do with this deck. We've got some ways to make some friends. We've got some ways to make some enemies too. We've got some ways to make an army incredibly quickly. And yeah, although snakes, you know, are just little 1/1s, they don't have death touch. They don't have flying like our commander does. So it's kind of weird to think about, like our commander's just making snakes that just fly from the sky and just hit the ground, I guess, and survive. But yeah, that's what's going to happen. But of course, we've got ways to not only make our snakes fly, but ways to make them hit incredibly hard as well. So basically, yeah, we'll make some friends. But at the end, yeah, we're here to win. So, win we shall. With this deck, yeah, it is going to be a budget-friendly deck. The commander itself is very budget-friendly, just 33 cents. And the rest of the deck, every single card in it is less than $1, so it's a very budget-friendly deck. According to Moxfield, the estimated cost is $24.87. Which I should mention does not include basic lands, which you might be able to get at LGS, might be able to get from your friends, might be able to just buy in bulk for cheap, or just buy, you know, with this deck list for cheap as well. And speaking of that deck list, well, it does not include the cost of shipping. That being said, the deck list description below, if you click onto it, it's going to take you to TCG Player. If you optimize your cart with heavily played and damaged cards, you might be able to save even more than that. So there you go. So make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below if you are interested in this one. Now, with all that said, let's jump into the tactics. And we're going to start with the first tactic, which I'm calling Shared Resources. And of course, first up, there is Wayfarer's Bauble. Pay 2, tap, sacrifice. Go get a base land to play tapped. Gotta love it. Next up, we've got Edge of Autumn. Basically a rampant growth, but with a restriction. 4 or less lands in play. We can go get that basic and play tapped. So again, when we want to ramp with this early, this is perfect. Later on in the game, when we don't need a ramp, we can cycle this away by sacrificing a land. Speaking of rampant growth, yep, rampant growth, fantastic spell. Cost 2, go get a basic and to play tapped. Moving on, we've got Cultivate. We'll get 2 basics. 1 goes into our hand. 1 goes on the battlefield. Tapped, so we can set ourselves up for our next land drop. Then there's Grow from the Ashes. Grow from the Ashes is going to let us get 1 basic and play untapped, or 2 if we kicked it. So a fantastic way to utilize mana right away. Now, when it comes to politics, of course, we can even politic with our ramp as well. Pen of Prosperity is a fantastic one. Enters the battlefield under the control of an opponent of your choice. Then that opponent can pay 2 to tap it and draw a card and put a land from their hand on the battlefield. Then we, Pen of Prosperity's owner, get to do the exact same thing. So again, make a friend. Make a friend with an opponent who is willing to play ball with you and say, you know what? We're both going to benefit from this, right? You like to draw cards. You like to get lands into play. So do I. Let's team up. Let's do this. And again, remember that when they do that, and when your commander is in play, you get a snake. Lovely. Also, Root Weaver Druid, another great way to politic, another great way to say, you know what, I'm doing this for everyone, okay, not just myself. Enters the battlefield, each opponent may search the library for the 3 basic land cards, then put one of those cards on the battlefield tapped under your control, and the rest of the battlefield tapped under their control, then each player searches the library this way, shuffles it. Basically, this is going to be difficult for our opponents to say no to, because who doesn't like ramping? And when one player does it, the other one's going to be like, yeah, I gotta do that. Or if the first player doesn't, and the next player's like, Well, you're not getting a benefit off of this, but I will, and then the next player for that will too. So it's a really interesting kind of political card. You can definitely start the conversations kind of with this card. Next up, Search for Tomorrow, another great turn 1 play like Wayfarer's Bauble. Spend 2 for a single green mana. Get a base, gonna play untapped. Then we've got Gerpori. Again, we're helping everyone, every single player out there. We are helping out. Hey, each player will play just a land on each of their turns. Look at all the good what we're doing. Look at all the good ramping that we are doing for everyone. On top of that, getting each player's upkeep, that player's no cards in hand, they draw 3 cards. So again, if you're out of cards, don't worry, I got your back. And also, I'm gonna make 3 snakes when you do that. So there we go. Finally, Verdict Mastery is a great political card for us. You may pay 3 in a green rather than pay the spell's mana cost. We're probably going to be doing that. Search the library to 4 base land cards, reveal them. 1 goes into play under opponent's control. So again, we can say, hey, you know what? You're my buddy, right? You're gonna play some ball with me. You're gonna let my commander come through and swing at you, and you're not gonna be, hurt by that. You're gonna be fine with it. You're not gonna swing back at me. You get a land, I get 2 into play tapped, I get 1 in my hand. Everyone wins, right? Everyone wins. Speaking of everyone winning, let's move on to our second tactic, which I am calling Shared Wisdom. And share the wisdom we shall. Fascination is a sorcery, a fantastic one that costs X blue, and it says, hey, each player draws X cards. I mean, we can also mill players too, but we're going to make each player draw X cards most likely, and we're going to make an absurd amount of snakes. Again, for every single mana into that X, that is 3 snakes. 3 snakes. So, yeah, make an army in absolutely no time with this and draw some cards too. Next up, Sky Scribing, basically the exact same thing, or we can forecast it. Sure, but most likely we're just going to cast it for that X. So there you go. Then we've got Vision Skynes. This is an incredibly effective card when it comes to, making snakes out of nowhere, making them quickly, making them efficiently. 2 mana, instant speed. Everyone draws 2 cards. That's what, 6 snakes right there? Thank you. Next up, we got Words of Wisdom. Same thing, basically, except for we're benefiting more than our opponents. I'm so sorry, opponents. It's okay, all right? I'm going to draw 2. You each draw 1. Okay, I still get 3 snakes, so that's nice. Then we've got Flux. The decision is yours, opponents. You can do this, all right? We can talk about it. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. We'll see what happens. Each player chooses and discards any number of cards and draws that many cards, and we draw an extra card as well to replace this one, so we can wheel our entire hand if we want to. Our opponents can choose to wheel as many cards as they want as well. And you know what? Everyone wins. They can pick the exact number that they want, and then we get snakes. Then we've got Magus the Wheel. There's no decision here. This is just a great wheel effect. Pay 1 red, tap, sacrifice it. Everyone wheels, discards their hand, draws 7. That's 21 snakes. Yeah, that's quite a few. That's quite a few snakes. So basically, we're going to make an absurd amount of snakes, and everyone else is going to benefit, right? Everyone's going to benefit. Everyone gets to discard their hand and draw back up to 7. We're just helping everyone out. Speaking of which, Shields of the Ancestors, we're there for the underdog. Each player with fewer cards in their hand than the player with the most cards in their hand draws cards equal to the difference. And we can foretell this if we want to. Basically, that player over there, they're the problem, right? They've got a full hand. Everyone else, we're struggling over here. We need some help. So, hey, I'll cast this. Everyone goes up to 7 or whatever the most amount is. And then everyone's happy, and we get snakes. Moving on, we got Imposing Grandeur. Each player may discard their hand and draw cards equal to the greatest mana value of a commander they own in the command zone or battlefield. Basically, hey, you know what? I see over there with the Dragon, okay? I'm trying to help you out. Let's talk. I'll cast this. You draw 9 cards. That's a lot. You're doing great over there, huh? There you go. And we make 9 snakes. And also, if the other players decide to do that too, we're going to draw a lot of cards. We're going to draw a lot of cards already. We're going to draw 5 cards, and we're going to make a lot of snakes. So have fun with that. Game plan. This one is incredibly political, and I love it. Assist. So another player can pay up to 5 of the spell's cost for us. So we can say, you know, we're buddies, right? We've been working together this game. You're going to help me out with this spell? Come on, you want this spell too, right? Go at least, go 50-50 with me, okay? Each player shuffles their hand and graveyard in their library, then draws 7 cards, exile game plan. So basically a time twister, but with a friend that can help us out. So isn't that fun? Then we've got Ruin Grinder, one of our friends, a 7/4 menace. That's nice. We can mountain cycle it if we really need to. But it says when it dies, each player may discard their hand and draw 7 cards. So again, if this dies, we can have everyone wheel. What's not to love about that? Then we've got Rune Horn Hellkite, 5/5 dragon with flying that has pay 5 and a red. Exile it from your graveyard. Each player discards their hand, then draws 7 cards. This one from our graveyard can help us out. So this can even be a card that we actually just discard, get into our graveyard, and then utilize it out of our graveyard with this fantastic effect. And then finally, in this tactic, we got Commit to Memory. Commits can help us control things, but target spell or non-land permanent into our library, second from the top. Then memory says, it's our aftermath side, each player shuffles their hand, and basically, okay, time twister. So essentially, we just say, you know what? Let's reset things. Let's make a ton of snakes. Let's just have everyone have a good time, right? But of course, we're not done with sharing this wisdom with our opponents. Let's move on to attack number 3. Which I'm calling keep sharing, because we have some ways that we can just keep sharing our wisdom, or sharing the table's wisdom. So first up, we got Dacromystic, a simple 1/1 for a blue mana, pay a blue, tap, each player reveals the top card of the library. We can put it in everyone's graveyard, so we say, you know what, that's scary, right, everyone? We don't want that player's card off the top, right? We want that to go in the graveyard, so everyone just goes in the graveyard, or we can have each player draw a card. So again, a repeatable way to say, you know what, I'm helping everyone out. I'm also helping myself out by making some snakes. Moving on, Kami the Crescent Moon. Everyone gets more for everyone, including us with snakes. 1/3 spirit that says, at the beginning of each player's draw step, the player draws an instant card, basically a Howling Mine, but on a creature. So again, hey, extra cards for everyone. What's not to love about that? Then we've got Lore Broker. Tap, each player draws a card and discards a card. Everyone loots as well, right? I'm helping you out. I'm helping you with card selection. And I'm helping myself make more snakes. You see a theme here. Zenith Chronicler, a 3/1 for Phyrexian Construct for just 2 mana. Whenever a player casts their first multicolored spell each turn, each other player draws a card. Playing its multicolored decks, you're going to be drawing a lot of cards, and so is everyone else, and you're making a lot of snakes with this. This is just low to the ground, really effective card. It's pretty fantastic. Finally, we've got Dragon Mage. This is a heavy hitter. I mean, it's a 5/5 flyer, so it hits a decent amount, but it's a heavy hitter because every single time it hits, when it is combined to a player, each player discards their hand, draws 7 cards. Wheel on hit. And again, a flyer. Probably going to be able to get through on most opponents. So there you go. Now, let's get really political, though. Instead of being like, should I, shouldn't I? Let's say you and me are buddies. So we're going to move on to attack number 4, which I'm calling Selective Sharing. So first up, we've got Humble Defector, one of Eddie's favorite cards. A fantastic card. 2/1 Human Rogue for 1 and a red. Tap, draw 2 cards. Target opponent gains 12 Humble Defector. Activate only during your turn. Basically, we say, hey, you and I, we're friends, right? Do you just want to keep passing this back and forth so we both can just keep drawing 2 cards on our turns? So we should do that. So we draw 2, we pass it over to the friend who we're now best friends with, and then they say, cool, on my turn, okay, I'll tap, draw 2, and then we'll be like, thank you for the snakes, and then we just keep doing this again and again and again. It's a fantastic card. Next up, Cephalid Looter. Very simple, very effective. Tap, target player draws a card, discards a card. Basically, target player loots. We can do this to ourselves if we need to, or again, share the love. Say, we're buddies, right? You need to loot, right? Let's have you loot. So there you go, and we make snakes. Then we've got Commander's Insight. Yep, a great X spell that says, you know what? Usually, we're going to target ourselves with this in most circumstances for most decks, but in this one, we're going to be like, you know what? I want to be generous. I want to be helpful. If I have you draw 5 cards, will you, like, not attack me for, like, 2 or 3 turns? They'll be like, yeah, 5 cards is great, or even more than that. So, there you go. Again, X plus the number of times you cast your commander. That can be a decent amount. Moving on, we've got Curse of Verbosity. Enchant player, whenever enchant players attack, you draw a card, each opponent attacking player does the same. No one likes that guy. Let's all attack that guy. I mean, we like that guy, like, and not in the game, though, right now. Like, look at that board state. We don't like that guy, all right? Anyway, so attack that player. Everyone says, you know, we all win, and we win even more when they draw their extra cards. Moving on, Induced Amnesia. Enters the battlefield, target player exiles their hand face down, draws that many cards. Once put in a graveyard, they get the exile cards back to their hand. Basically, we say, you know what, how's your hand doing? Not so good. You want to replace it? Perfect. All right, let's make a deal. I'll help you replace your hand. I get some snakes out of the deal. And you, again, don't attack me. Do a favor for me. Those kinds of things. Make some deals. Wheels and deals. That's the name of the deck. Then we've got Reckless Scholar. Again, basically like Cephalid Looter. Make someone loot. So again, if we need to, cool, we can. If not, an opponent does. Then we've got Stroke of Genius. Again, keep in mind with these X spells, the ones that are really good for this deck, target player draws X. Again, this is basically like make X snakes and make a friend at the same time. Then we've got Careful Consideration. Again, target player draws 4 cards, discards 3. And if we cast our main phase, it's going to be 2 instead of a 3 for the discard. Basically, again, you can target yourself, or you can target a lovely opponent. Then there's Cephalid Broker, basically a bigger one of those previous loot effects. Tap, target player draws 2, discards 2, loot 2, repeatable. Yeah, this is fantastic. Then we've got basically Humble Defector, but as a legendary creature. Karn the Betrayer. Whenever it attacks, it's going to attack or block each combat Fable. When you lose control of it, draw 2 cards. If damage will be dealt to it, prevent that damage, an opponent gains control of it. opponent of your choice. So basically, again, you're going to be like, hey, we're buddies, right? Exact same thing as Humble Defector, right? Essentially, hey, I give it to you, you give it to me, we swing it at other players, and we see what happens. So again, a great way to continue to make more and more and more, well, snakes and friends. Then we've got Curse of Surveillance, again, another curse that can be very helpful. Enchant player, at the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, any number of target players other than that player each draw cards equal the number of curses attached to that player. So, I mean, if we have both the curses attached, great. We can say, hey, you know what? Let's all share the love, except for this player that we are, not friends with, right? We're not friends with that player. So we each get to draw cards and they don't. And then finally got Loquatus' Creativity. This one can actually be very, very good in a pinch. Target player draws cards equal to the number of cards in their hand that discards that many cards. If someone's got even more than 7 cards in their hand, great. Hey, you're doing great over there. I've helped to draw other cards. Let's make you draw even more cards this turn, okay? Draw 10 cards and then, cool. I'll make 10 snakes. Thank you. So yeah, again, a great way to help things out. Speaking of helping things out, though, let's help out our own things, though, in tech number 5, my stuff. So first up, we've got a way to protect our stuff, a fantastic way, but negate a very simple, very effective card. Counter target non-creature spell for 2 mana. Then we've got Nurok Stealth Suit, a great piece of equipment. Equip creature can't be target spells or abilities, basically Shroud. We also could equip this for a single mana or blue instant speed attaches to a creature we control. So again, our commander now is untouchable. Well, when it comes to spells, even from us though, which is okay. And then we've got Swiftfoot Boots, Hexproof, and Haste. The more important part here is probably the Hexproof, but Haste again can be effective because that combat aim and trigger can be great to be like, yeah, we need to draw some cards, swing right with the commander. Oh, perfect, we drew cards that we really need. Then we've got Dream Fracture. This is a friendly counter spell, right? 3 mana, counter target spells. Controller draws a card, draw a card. You're welcome. I replaced that card for you. Oh, and I made a snake. Oh, and I drew a card. Thank you. Then we've got finally Unwind. Again, we've got a lot of instant speed spells that we can really take advantage of. This can help us out. Counter target non-creature spell on tap for 3 lands. A great way to say, let's reset things. And if we've got one of our balance lands, say we can make even more mana out of this. Now that we've talked about our stuff, though, let's talk about our opponent's stuff and how we can, well, throw a wrench into it sometimes. So first up, we've got Mishra's Command. Sorcery, choose 2. Choose target player. They may discard up to X cards and draw a card for each card discarded this way. Deals X damage target creature. X damage target planeswalker. Target creature gets plus X plus 0 and gains haste until end of turn. This again is very flexible. Basically, it's like, hey, let's make a deal. You need to get rid of some cards in your hand, right? How many cards do you need to get rid of? Okay, cool. All right, we'll do that. I'll make some snakes out of that. You get some card selection out of that. I'll take out that creature or that planeswalker. This is very effective, very efficient, and very flexible. Then we've got Nin the Pain Artist. Not quite as flexible, but pretty cool. Pay X, blue, red, tap. It's going to deal X damage target creature. The creature's controller draws X cards. Basically, we say, hey, you know what? Again, you don't really care too much about that creature, or maybe you've got a big creature that's going to survive this, okay? Do you want to draw some cards? Cool. Here, I'll deal damage to that. You draw some cards. I make some snakes. Or you know what? I really feel like actually drawing a good amount of cards. I can target one of my own things as well. Then we've got Collective Defiance. Again, very flexible. We can escalate for a single mana, choose 1 or more. Target player discards all the cards in their hand and draws that many cards. Again, we can make a deal. We can say, you know what? Do you like your hand? Do you want to get rid of it? Let's swap it out, okay? I'll make some snakes. Or we can target ourselves. 4 damage target creature, 4 damage target opponent. Again, 3 damage target opponent. Sorry about that. But yeah, regardless, a great flexible card as well. Moving on, Filter Out. This one can be quite effective. Return all non-creature non-land permanents to owner's hands. We're going to be making a giant snake army. Let's bounce everything that we don't care about, for the most part, back to our owner's hands. And yeah, just for 3 mana, keep our army out there. Have fun. Moving on, Role Reversal. This one can be very effective. Again, a great way to make a buddy. Exchange control of 2 target permanents that share a permanent type. You're behind, okay, friend over there? You're behind, all right? Let's just admit it. No, it's okay. It's okay, because I'm going to help you out. For just 3 mana, I'm going to say, let's take your worst creature, okay? That little one right there, is that okay? A tiny token like Servo. Let's take that and let's exchange it with this opponent's best creature. Maybe their commander. They're ahead of everyone. Let's swap those 2 things. There you go. You're welcome. So make some friends with this, politic with this, or yeah, you can be selfish and be like, here's a tiny snake. Thank you for the Blightsteel. Awesome. So this is a very flexible, efficient card. And keep in mind, it's not just creatures, it's any permanents that share a permanent type. Moving on, Fate from History again. For the most part, we really care about, well, our creatures. So let's destroy all artifacts and enchantments. Everyone gets a bear that has one. But yeah, let's destroy them all. And we've got ways to make that bear much more powerful. Moving on, Washout. This one, again, is quite political. Return all permanents of the color of your choice to the owner's hands. We can choose the color that doesn't hurt us the most, and that hurts the opponent that we don't like the most. And again, we can probably keep that opponent that we're friends with safe as well. Speaking of which, Aether Gale, very efficient, very flexible. Pay 5, bounce 5 non-land permanents. Sorry, 6. 6, even more efficient than that. Bounce 6 non-land permanents back to our hands. Can be whatever ones we need them to be. And then we got Perplexing Test. This one, well, has 2 options, but we're usually just going to choose one of them. Return all creature tokens owner's hands. Probably not going to choose that one. Or return all non-token creatures owner's hands. Instant speed, 5 mana. Basically a one-sided board wipe for the most part. Have fun with that. And something can be very one-sided. We can gain a lot of brownie points with this card. River's Rebuke. Return all non-land permanents target player controls their owner's hand. Hey, everyone. Except for that guy, who we don't like again. We've already talked about that. Hey, everyone. That player is way ahead of us, right? You give me a turn off, I will get rid of all their stuff right now. Thank you. Awesome. That's the way to do it. Moving on, let's talk about, well, a tactic that I love the name of. Scary stuff. Because we've got to do some scary stuff with our snakes. First up, we've got Scale Up. Until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a green worm with base power and toughness 6 form. Or we can overload it, and then all of a sudden, our little tiny 1/1 snakes are 6/4 snakes. That's 5 extra power, 6 times the original power. Yeah, this can be game ending. Speaking of that, we've got Biomass Mutation. They won't see it coming. Creatures you control base power and toughness XX until end of turn. Instant speed. Yep. Have fun with that. Again, we've got ways to ramp. We got plenty of ways to ramp. We're in green. Put a good amount of mana into the X, and your opponents are probably going to be gone. Next up, Roar Resistance. You want to attack right away? Creature tokens you control have haste. Nice. Hasty snakes. Whenever one or more creatures you control attack. Sorry, whenever one or more creatures attack. Doesn't say you control. I accidentally slipped that in because it usually is that way, but it is not. This can be very political. You may pay 1 in a red. If you do, creatures attacking your opponents and or planeswalkers they control get +0 until end of turn. Basically, hey, again, a good incentive to say, you know what? If you swing at this other opponent, I will pay to make your creatures hit even harder. We can do this together. And of course, when you swing with your snakes, yeah, they're going to swing for 3 instead of just 1. Next up, Woody Roastmaster. You don't need to swing to win because, hey, whenever another creature has battlefield under control, Woody Roastmaster deals 1 damage each opponent. Basically, an impact tremors on a creature. You wheel and your opponents are probably gone. That's when politicking kind of goes out the window and you're going to be like, nah, I'm just going to finish you all out. All right, here we go. Zurzov Chaos Rider. This one is quite crazy. Whenever opponent draws their first card each turn, if it's not their turn, you create a 1/1 red devil creature token that basically can ping something when it dies. Yeah, it's going to happen quite a lot. Whenever one or more devils you control attack one or more players, you and those players each draw a card and discard a card at random. Again, other ways to essentially be like, we're going to draw some more cards. We're going to make some more snakes. Have fun. I'm in this with you. Moving on, I did say earlier that these snakes, it's kind of ironic that they don't have flying because our commander does have flying and they're making snakes like from there and they're just falling to the ground and surviving. Now we can make them fly with our commander too. Levitation, very simple, very effective. Enchantment, creatures you control flying. Incredibly deadly when you have a massive army of snakes. Then we've got Psychosis Crawler. Don't even need to attack again. Just draw a ton of cards, drain your opponents. Each card we draw drains each opponent 1 life. This can take absolutely no time to take them out. Speaking of no time, Rage Reflection. Here we go. Creature control double strike. First of all, this can really help our commander again hit twice. When that happens, we're going to be drawing, well, our opponents, us and our opponents are each going to be drawing a lot of cards, but also we're going to be making a lot of snakes. And again, those snakes hit twice as hard. Think about this with like a Scale Up or a Biomass Mutation. Gross. Now that we've talked about every single one of our non-land cards, though, let's quickly go through, well, the great land of this deck and the tactic that I'm calling Great Land. There's other great lands too, but the one I want to highlight is Miko Koros out of the Sea. I'm so happy this one's finally budget friendly again. Tap for a colorless or pay 2 tap each player draws a card. Basically again, pay 2 tap each player draws a card. We make 3 snakes. Fantastic. Yeah, that's the deck though. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Comment below your thoughts on it. I think it's a really fun one. If you are interested in it, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.